What's going on, guys? It's your boy Steven here, and I figured I actually asked my Facebook friends, family, people I actually don't know because we all have them, those random people that'll add you. I asked them what would be a good idea for the Let's Talk, and I got so many suggestions that I'll probably be filled till next year with all these suggestions from my friends and family. That was Skype turning on. Thanks, Skype. But one thing I actually really wanted to talk about today that I've noticed a lot on Facebook and a lot just with all of my friends and family. My light turned off, I don't know why. But one thing I really wanted to talk about today is relationships. Now, relationships are tricky. They're not simple at all. They're not, they're such a complex thing that happens between two people that really enjoy each other's company and love each other, essentially. But one of the things that I've noticed by talking to my friends, talking to my family, is that relationships, they're good. They're all, like, a lot of them are good, but there's a lot of them that are bad too. And it's kind of what I wanted to talk to you guys about is, like, not really what makes a good relationship and a bad relationship, but what a relationship involves. And now I'm not a psychiatrist, I'm not a relationship guru or anything like that, but I wanted to give my opinion on this because I think to myself that I've had some good relationships and some bad relationships, and I'm single right now, so you can tell that I'm up and available. Yet no. But one of the things that I've noticed is, if there's any viewers right now that are in middle school, high school, it doesn't really matter, but I want to say about 8.5 out of 10 relationships in high school and guaranteed 10 out of 10 relationships in middle school, they'll probably end. And it's a shitty thing to say. It really is, and I hope that isn't your awakening on what relationships will be. But relationships are so misconstrued in high school and middle school, and even now, I'm in college and I see stupid relationship problems that could be fixed so easily, but the people that are in the relationships don't see that. They don't see how it's easier to look on from the outside than to look at it from the inside. And that's one of the biggest problems with relationships. There's occasions where you'll have a fight, you'll have just problems in general that you'll want to fix. You'll try everything you can to fix them, but the best way to fix them is not yelling and screaming at each other. Yelling and screaming at each other doesn't do anything for anybody. It tears the relationship apart if you're yelling and screaming too much. I mean, especially if you have kids, or if you are just trying to be with somebody and you think that they could be someone that you could be with until you die, or until one of them dies, or you kill them, whatever you will do. But my advice, honestly, for relationships is you have to look at it from the outside perspective, and that's not an easy thing to do. I had to do it for myself about 2 years ago. I was in I'd like to say a serious relationship with somebody. I moved in with them, and I had just graduated high school, I think. Wow, that was a long time ago. But I had just graduated high school, and I was in my first year of college, and right about the mid-summer, that summer, I went to Canada with her and her family, and when we came back, I decided, I want to take this to the next step, so we moved in together. And, everything was going great. It was a good relationship. We had fun, we did things together, and I got a really good job, so I, was always doing, little nice things for her and all of this. And one day, it seemed like a light switch changed. And that I think is one of the biggest problems of relationships as well, is not being like fighting, not knowing how to resolve a fight properly instead of just screaming. And I'm actually getting a little emotional talking about this, because that relationship till today has still messed me up. But if that person ever sees this, it doesn't really matter, because I don't regret anything. I don't regret the end. I don't regret any of it. It's one of those things that relationships, when you get out of a relationship, you have to see the best parts of it and what it made you today. You can't, there's really no reason to have hostility behind you. I mean, they can do the worst thing imaginable. They can cheat on you. They can do whatever it is. But holding hostility, holding grudges, it will affect you. It will even affect your health, because you'll have that resentment. You'll have all of these bad feelings inside of you, and it'll mess you up. Like, I know, because for a year and a half I held it inside of me, and I was so depressed. I couldn't do anything. And if you want, I have a video about depression too, because I've been through it. But relationships aren't black and white. They're gray. They're blue. I mean, they're every color. There's nothing set in stone about a relationship. But the one thing in relationships that I can say has changed in me from, I can say, middle school till now, because I mean, I was that guy that always wanted to have a girlfriend. I always had a girlfriend, even as a chubby little middle schooler. I was a little roly-poly. I had girlfriends all the time, and in high school I had girlfriends all the time. Do I regret it? No. Has my mind changed completely about how to have a girlfriend and who to choose to have a girlfriend? Yes, dramatically. I've made so many choices to better myself instead of I've made choices to better myself by myself instead of having somebody there with me. And granted, it's awesome to have someone there with you, and it's amazing to have someone always support you. But when you think about it, if you say you're in a relationship and you have this person supporting you all the time, and it makes you feel awesome, when that relationship ends, you won't have that support. You will feel alone almost, that you don't have someone supporting you. And that was my biggest problem. For almost 2 years, I was almost dependent on this person for my happiness. And that's my biggest mistake, is you have to be happy on your own to be truly happy with somebody else. Because if you're depending on them for happiness, when they're sad, you're sad. And that's not bad. It's really not bad, but it can affect your relationship. And I guess I'm just gonna add everything that's wrong with a relationship in this one video, or could be wrong with a relationship, or anything like that. But taking a look outside of the perspective of your own relationship, to tell your friends that are having relationship problems how to help them and all that, is actually a lot easier than doing it yourself. Like, how I'm sure all of you have done this. You say, I can give you the best advice in the world, but I can't take my own. It's honestly like that. I can give the best advice in the world about relationships, but I screw up relationships too. I mean, there's nothing wrong with saying that. But you honestly have to take a look at your relationship from an outside perspective. If you're having problems, you have to know what the problem's about and know if there's anything else causing the problems. I know, here's a stereotype: the girl will hold everything in. Well, so do guys. Guys hold shit in all the time. And what I want you to do is, be honest with your companion, with your one other. Be honest with them. If something's troubling you, be honest with them. They're not going to be, if the person you love is mad at you for being honest, you need to find somebody else. Because honesty is still, till today, the best policy you have. And not screaming at each other is also a good policy. If you just need to cool off, go for a drive, go for a walk. You know, just say, let's take some time to cool off. We'll come back to this with cool heads. Because screaming won't do anything. You're going to get all emotional. You're going to get wrapped up in the moment and do something you'll regret. I mean, you could have an amazing relationship, have one fight, scream at each other, and it's done. Like that. It's all over. And it's not worth it. It's so much worth it if you are so committed to that relationship to just go for a drive. That's it. Go for a drive, you know. Don't go drinking. Don't go do anything that will affect your judgment when you come back. But go for a drive or a run. Go to the gym. I do that all the time. If I'm angry at anything, I go to the gym. I'll work out. I'll let all my stress, resolve. And then I'll come back. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with taking a second to cool your head before you come back and resolve the argument. That's one of the biggest things I try to tell people is, they say, I'm having a fight with them, I don't know what to do. Well, honestly, sit them down and talk to them. If they're trying to start fights, then you have something wrong. There might be something else there. But if you guys are just not seeing eye to eye about something, sit them down. Don't be afraid to just speak your mind, but don't do it in a way that it feels like they would feel like it's hurting you. Talk to them like you want them to talk, like how you want you to talk to them, if that makes sense. I'm trying to think of how to word that. But you need to be adults about a relationship. I see so many people just acting like childs when they're like acting like children when they're in a relationship. They'll, an eye for an eye doesn't, like, an eye for an eye makes the whole world blind. If someone's does something to hurt you in a relationship and then you do something else to hurt them, your relationship is going to end up being a failure because you're not sitting down and talking about the problems. If they did something you don't like, if they went to a party or something like that and you didn't like it, don't go to a party, don't go behind their back to do something. Just talk to them. That is the biggest pet peeve of mine, is in a relationship people don't talk. And that's why I honestly have waited so long to have a relationship, is because I haven't found anyone that I can talk to so truthfully that, that wouldn't get mad. And that's why I'm still waiting, and I'll be glad to wait if I can find somebody that, truly understands me. But I guess the whole gist of this video is, if you're in a relationship and you really love that person, and that person feels the same way about you, talk about your problems like adults, and don't be honest. Don't lie to that person. There's no reason in lying if you can just sit them down and talk to them honestly. I mean, if you love them that much, wouldn't you want to keep them? You shouldn't have to hide things behind your back. Yes, you can hide things like, it's a surprise for them, it's their birthday present. I don't care. That's petty white lies that, won't hurt them, and in the end it'll make them so much happier. But don't lie saying, I'm going to my friend's house, when you're actually going to a party. Because when they find out, they will be so mad at you that, it'll ruin the relationship almost. Some people can look past certain things, and I get that. But at the same time, not everyone is the same. Everyone has different views on relationships. It's such a complex being of how everybody is. And that's the one thing I wanted to get across, is that everyone is different. And to understand a relationship, you have to look at each person. And there's so many factors that, I probably would make a 45-minute video just trying to talk about a relationship. But my 3 rules on a relationship is: don't yell, don't lie, and don't go around behind their back. What's the point? If you're in a relationship with someone, shouldn't you be honest? Shouldn't you not go around behind their back? And shouldn't you just not yell at them and talk to them? Because talking gets so much more done than just screaming at each other. I don't even know. It's one of those things. And for me, I've been in a lot of relationships. Not many of them were actually that serious, like the one I was talking to you about when I went to Canada. But, we all have serious relationships. We all have just flings. We all have, whatever we have. It's not a big thing. But the one big thing that has affected me is that I did do what I said, and I put all my happiness in that one person, and when it ended, it tore me apart. It it shattered my entire world. I didn't know how to be happy by myself without that person, and it's one of those things. I hope the best for her. I hope she does well with whatever she does, but it's one of those things where at the moment I had to make a choice for myself. Do I want to be happy or do I want to stay in this relationship? And for me, I had to go. I wasn't happy, and it needed to happen. And it still hurts to this day, knowing that you could have had something great, but you didn't. Well, shit happens. I mean, excuse the language, but shit happens, and life goes on. I mean, I was 18 and 19. I have a good 100 years left, I think. But it's not the end of the world. No relationship should be. No relationship should be the end of the person that was in either side of the relationship. I mean, there's no reason for you to take your life or do something so drastic as that to justify not being with somebody. Relationships should be an uplifting thing. They should be something that lessens the stress of normal day life. You should be able to come home to that person, or come home and just text that person, or call them, or Skype them, or however you contact them. It should be just easy. That's what it is. A relationship should be easy, stress-free, like companionship, that someone always has your back, someone will always stand up to fight for you, and someone that you can sit with on a Sunday and cuddle with and watch stupid TV shows. That's that's a basic idea of a relationship. God knows there's so much more to it, but that's what it should be. It shouldn't be so hard to keep a relationship. It should be so easy. Just don't cheat, don't lie, don't yell. That's it's pretty simple, but people make it too difficult for themselves to have relationships. So you can take this whole video and just say, well, he's an idiot, he doesn't know what he's talking about, he's only 20. But at the same time, try it out. See what happens if you just yell at somebody, yell at your significant other, and see what happens. You won't have a happy ending, I can guarantee it. But if you listening is probably the best idea too. Just listen to them. So yeah, I guess this is over, guys. I hope you have a great day. If you like this video, comment, subscribe. I have other videos out too, and yeah, have a wonderful Sunday. Isn't it? It's Sunday.